a demonstration of working a 3-needle bind off in the knit fashion and also in the purl fashion. You start with 2 pieces of fabric, each on its own needle with live stitches on the needles. You can either work the 3-needle bind off with the right sides facing, and in that case the 3-needle bind off will be on the wrong side of the fabric, or you can work the 3-needle bind off with the wrong sides facing, so the right sides are facing out, and in that case the 3-needle bind off will make a decorative edge on the right side of the fabric. And that's what we're going to do in this demonstration. So you need to have your stitches, the same number of stitches on both needles, and a 3rd needle. So we have 1, 2, 3 needles. This one will be used to work the bind off. These 2 are just holding the stitches. So we're going to work the first half of this bind off with the 3-needle bind off worked in a knit fashion. So we're going to start by going through the first stitch on the forward needle as if to knit, then the first stitch on the away needle as if to knit, pull the yarn through both stitches and allow both stitches to come off the left needles. It's kind of like a knit 2 together. So now you have 1 stitch over on the right needle. We're going to repeat that. We'll go through the front needle as if to knit, the back needle as if to knit, pull the yarn through both stitches and pull them off the needles. Now you have 2 stitches on the right needle. With the one of the needles, use the tip to pull that first stitch over the second and off, and you've just bound off 1 stitch using the 3-needle bind off. So we're going to do that again. So we're going to go through the first stitch as if to knit, the second stitch as if to knit, pull the yarn all the way through both, let the 2 stitches come off the left needles. I use the back needle point to go through that stitch and pull it over the first. Now we've bound off 2 stitches. We're going to do a few more in the same fashion. It's very similar to knit 2 together. You're just connecting the stitches on the front needle and the back needle in the 3-needle bind off. Let's take a peek at what it looks like. Or if you stop, this is a good little tip, if you stop in the middle of the bind off and you don't want to lose that stitch and just sitting on that 3rd needle it'll slide off easily, you can slip it onto the back needle here and that'll hold it. So you can see it gives you this nice little chain look for joining the 2 fabrics. It looks like a chain on this side. On this side it looks more like the ridge of a garter ridge. So let's work a few more stitches to it using this technique, and then I'll show you how to do it purl-wise. So we've got to get this back on the right needle, go through the front, the back, pull the yarn through, slip it off the right needle. Do this again. One more. Okay, now we're going to work the second half of the seam purl-wise. So this time you bring the yarn to the front, you come through the back stitch, the back needle, second needle as if to purl, come through the stitch on the front needle as if to purl, bring the yarn over the needle and pull the thread through both stitches and purl them off. Bring this stitch over this stitch. And we're going to repeat for several stitches. So the back needles first, you go through that stitch as if to purl, go through the front needle as if to purl, bring the yarn through both and off, and slip the first stitch over the second. Bring the yarn forward, go through the back stitch as if to purl, the front stitch as if to purl, take the yarn through, use the second needle tip, pull the first stitch over the second. We've got a little piece of a split stitch there. Pull that over. Okay. Now we're going to work through the rest of the row. Same process. always bringing the yarn to the front when you're going to purl. Just like when you purl across a row, you use the yarn in the front. It's the same with this. I split another stitch there. Oops, we're going to run out of yarn here. One more. Okay, so now we're going to look at this seam. The first portion of it we did knitwise. The second portion we did purlwise. See how that looks like purl bumps? And this looks like a chain. If we turn the fabric over, the ones that look like a chain on the other side look like purl bumps, and the ones that look like purl bumps on the other side look like a chain here. The reason you want to know how to do this in both directions is because there may be a time when you want to mirror it between one side and another, and it's just not convenient to work from the other side of the fabric. For example, when you're binding off shoulders along with a neck edge. So that looks pretty good. I used the same size needle to do the bind off as I did for the work, and you can see that the tension of it is very good.